What would you consider as a mortgage broker is a good protection commission? The amount of money that makes you go, I'm really excited to be able to make that money. What would you think would be a good one? Well, today I just got a message from one of my clients who has broken the record for all of my clients as who has the best commission from one case. Now that case was in fact £52,000. That is right, £52,000. They actually messaged me and said, thank you for today. Sometimes you need someone to just remind you why you do what you do. Big news, by the way, it's not closed yet as I've still got medical and underwriting to go, but just did an application for a client and the commission was, wait for it, £52,000, which is by far the biggest commission we've seen from any clients going through the Mortgage Business Mastery system or the system that I teach. It is the highest one by far. Now, this episode is not to teach you how you can get £52,000 per case, because there's one, and I've been doing this for 6.5 years. But I have had quite a lot of clients who get 21, 22, 23,000 pound commissions sporadically through the year. It is very possible. But most people, when they work with me, the average commissions are they're going to be doing an average premium about 150 to 250 pounds. Normally 8 out of 10 clients will take within that range once we work together for about 18 months. Now, why am I sharing it on this? Well, because I want to share with you, and I'm a big advocate of busting the myths of what is actually achievable as a broker in our industry. For some reason, we live in this world where everybody thinks that it's acceptable and okay for our clients to take insurance premiums that are, say, £30, £25. We pat ourselves on the back when we get a £50 case because we've made a bit of money. But I'm actually going to tell you right now, it's not right, it's not correct. And actually, the ceiling of what can be done as advisors is way bigger, way, way, way bigger than you can even possibly imagine. And I think that's one of the things that breaks my heart around this stuff, is that a lot of times we're surrounded by people and being told by other people that this is acceptable, but it's not, okay? It's absolutely not. So how can you actually get better at this stuff? This is the thing I want to talk about today, is how you can get to it. And obviously, most people are not going to get £52,000. I've had one, as I said, but it's a really good little hook and a bit of teaser. And it's also to show you, people will take this stuff. People will value. If the value is there, then they will pay. Which that premium, I don't know what that premium would be, but it's going to be massive. I mean, anyone who wishes to tell me what you'd need to make £52,000 commission at your network, because everything's different. And that's why I don't talk about premiums, because everybody's commissions are different depending on the network you're at. But how do you do it yourself? Well, the first thing I would say is improve your network, not your mortgage network, not the network you work with, the network of people you're surrounded by. If you find yourself constantly being surrounded by people who are doing average, then expect average. It's that whole concept of you are the average of the people you surround yourself by. And if everybody's telling you, that everybody gets bad medicals, or it's really hard to place cases, or the clawback, any of those things, then you need to move away from those people and find people in your network, whether that is within your mortgage network or whether that's in people in any group or something like that, who are winners, who are looking at it in a way of like, no, I'll do it. Because I actually had a conversation with another client yesterday who said, and this conversation happens quite a lot, but he was just learning how to pitch. I'm not sure. This guy doesn't do much insurance at all. And he literally did like 15 grand in commission in like 1 week. That's 15 grand in commission from something that he never would have done before in a week. And he said to me, him and his partner, they're like a team, they both said, we wish we'd done it sooner. And everyone always says that. I wish I'd learned it sooner. I wish we'd started sooner. The biggest bit is being confident in what you're talking about and in the numbers. You see, these numbers, we talk about these, and I talk about this all the time. I work with people and 6 figures is normal. I'm expecting 6 figures. Well, that's just the world I work in. That's the world I live in. I'm expecting 6 figures of an income from people. I'm expecting that people are doing high insurances. I'm expecting that people are charging high fees. I just expect it. Now, it doesn't mean, by the way, we live in a world where people go, and I'm okay with this. You be who you want to be. But don't think that you thinking that it's okay to settle for average is then going to moan that you didn't get the above average result. I think that's the biggest bit. Is what, people will say, like, it's not about money, run your own race, do all this stuff. And by the way, absolutely fine, it is. And I'm not money motivated, but I'm very competitive. And money is just a scoreboard. If you make more money in your business, it means your business is more successful by a measurable, tangible. You might have a different, more holistic outlook on that. I live a very lifestyle business. But the actual measurable, tangible thing is more money. If you increase your premiums and you improve your network, you're going to make more money, which means your business by default will be more successful. Guess what? Your network, as in your mortgage network, they're going to offer you more favorable terms. People want to work with you more if you have a more successful business. So that's one. Second thing, what's another metric? Higher premiums means higher cover, means better outcomes. Better outcomes for the client is what you're going for. So that's the wonderful thing about insurance, is the more insurance they take, the better it is for them. Not the worse. You're not lugging them with something they shouldn't have. If they take full cover, they take in full cover. And so it's, again, another measuring stick. High premiums isn't to brag, it's to go, great. When people come to me, they leave with a fully protected mortgage and lifestyle. Everything is covered. That's massive. That's such a huge benefit that you can then measure. And that's so when you say, like, when I would say to people, I would say this very openly, is if you're going, oh, well, I'm happy with £25 a month because that's what the client wanted. Ask yourself, are you really happy with that? You know, it's that kind of question of, do you feel comfortable with that? And if you do, fine. Don't moan you've got no money. Don't moan that other people are going to take your clients, because tell you what, insurance is one of the best ways actually for you to beat your competitors, because if you talk about it in a passionate, enthusiastic way, guess what? All of the mortgage brokers look rubbish and boring because they haven't talked about this one very, 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 very vital thing that just seems to be like, especially if you present it right. It's like, it would be dumb to put you in debt and not talk about how we could protect that debt so that you didn't get absolutely obliterated through your life. Wouldn't it? Yes. Okay. Great example. So improve the people you're around. The second one you have is study. Study how to talk to people. You don't need to study the policies. You don't need to study the providers. That all comes the more you do it. But study how to communicate, because protection is all about communication. So study sales and persuasion. That's what's going to get you further and further. It's about being able to understand how to communicate with somebody effectively, because communication is everything, especially when you're dealing with such a highly sensitive topic like protection, which can make people very, very on edge and upset and whatever. You need to study. You need to be on it straight away and know how you're handling that conversation. So easy to overlook. And by the way, how do you study with this? You can, well, I've got literally an entire YouTube channel dedicated to just hundreds of hours of content at this point for you guys to be able to just sift through. So study me. There you go. But if you don't want to study me because you think I'm a prat, which I'd be shocked why you're already halfway through this video if you think that, go and look at other people outside of the industry too, and inside, but outside too. I learn a lot. Loads of my information I learn comes from people outside of the industry. When people are on board with me, one of the books I get them to read is the Win Without Pitching Manifesto by Blair Enns, and that book is all about the creative industry. It's a very small book. It's like 2.5 hours on an audio book, and yet that has such an impact on everything I teach. Huge, but not really relevant to the mortgage industry. But you learn a lot from it, so much. So these are the type of things you want to look at, is study, become a student of this, become a student of conversation, persuasion, sales. It's very important. And the third thing I'd say is don't try to overcome objections. So one of the things I notice a lot is people try to overcome objections. It's the first thing they ask, how do I overcome them? How do I overcome it? And I'm sure I've done videos on them, because you can. I absolutely can teach people how to overcome objections. It's not as difficult as you think. But the real success is not about overcoming objections. It's about knocking them out of the way before they even come up. That's how real success comes within this stuff, and how people take higher amounts. Is if you're talking somebody and having to push them into taking this sale, then there's a very high chance that they're going to cancel, you're going to get clawback, and then it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth, and we're going to get into this repetitive cycle of all the stuff you don't want to do. So that can be a bit of a problem. So instead, what we do want to look at is learning how to preempt any objections that we know are going to come up and bake them into our script, our conversation, our pitch, in a very conversational, normal way, which studying will help you do, so that they are a non-issue. When an objection comes up, if it does come up, always stop, be calm, never be combative, because that's the issue people do. If you're going combative with them, they're never going to win. My dad used to always say to me, nobody says thank you so much for proving me wrong. So, if you're in an argument, he always said that, and that's very true. No one's going to say thank you so much, you're absolutely right, I'm wrong, I'm going to take this insurance. They might do, but then they might cancel later. It might just be a way to get out of the conversation and say, okay, cool, and be gone. So don't get sucked into this old school strategy of selling through objection handling. In an ideal world, you don't need to talk about objections because they would have already been taken away before that even happens. And if they do happen, like I said, stop and then just play back. So what I'm hearing you say is this is a problem. Could you explain why? So you want to get the explanation from them. And then you get them to explain it. You validate their explanation. That's understandable. And then you reassess. So what would happen if you were unable to work? So if they say, I don't think I need it. Okay, I hear that. I respect that you feel you don't need it. That's understandable. So let's just play this out then. What would happen if you couldn't work? Because you say you don't need it, that's fine. So what would happen? And they're like, oh, well, mum and dad would pay. Oh yeah, mum and dad would help me out. Okay, fine. So you look at that and go, okay, so your mortgage is this much. Like your mortgage is say £970 a month, and you're paying $2,500 a month on bills and lifestyle costs. So you're spending £3,474. Okay, so £374 a month. Let's say you're out work for 6 months. So you're saying that your family are going to be very comfortable paying £20,820 because you're unable to work. Now, obviously, if you weren't able to do that, that would be £3,470. Let's say you couldn't work for 2 years. Well, then if we did that, are you saying that your family would be able to cover £83,280 to maintain your lifestyle? And you do it in a very matter of fact. You're saying that they'll be able to do that. And it's not like oh, look, you cheeky about, like, I've got you out. No, it's like, oh, are you telling me that's possible? Because if that is, great, I'll mark that down. You can even say, make a joke with it and say, gosh, I tell you what, if they can afford that much, my question is, why are we getting a mortgage? And as a joke. Because what you're drawing light to here is your own personal response is stupid. But you don't want to say it's stupid. You just want to show and let them come to the conclusion of, this is a bit stupid. And then allow them to leave gracefully without feeling stupid. Because that's the biggest bit. If you make them feel stupid, they're not going to like you. So my overall takeaway for this when it comes to insurance is that you absolutely can get these bigger premiums. And anybody who is writing, say, 6, 7, 8 grand a month right now with mortgages predominantly, you absolutely can be doing 15, 20 grand months. Absolutely. Quite easily with the clients you have right now, with a shift of those 3 things: improving your network, studying like crazy around this type of stuff, and not being combative when it comes to an objection. Instead, stepping back and having a conversation and walking them through to their decision, which is coaching, because you should be a coach. You're a mortgage coach. That's going to help you significantly. Now, if you've liked this video, you want to check out this one on screen, which is my deep dive into sales across the board for mortgage brokers. It's going to help you understand the process of how you can improve your sales and start studying through this. It's actually a whole playlist, but if you start with the sales, work your way through, you'll love it. Give it a click.